Okay, in this chapter, we're going to see how to create an inquiry in the system. Inquiry hands-on. So where do we start? So step number 1, go to transaction VA11. How do you do that? You just go here and type in VA11. That's the transaction code to create an inquiry. You can just hit enter or click on this green check mark. If you don't like to remember these funky codes, you can still do logistics, sales and distribution, sales, inquiry, and create. So you can do this transaction either way. Use the transaction code VA11, or you go here to logistics, sales and distribution, sales, inquiry, then create. So let's take a quick screenshot here and go paste it here. So you can use VA11 or use the menu path logistics, sales and distribution, sales, inquiry, and create. So that was step number 1. So step number 2 is to go inside by either double clicking it, remember, or typing in VA11 here and hitting enter. If you double click it, you'll be taken to the screen. This is the first screen when you create an inquiry. What do you have here? You have 2 main pieces of data. This is called as the inquiry type. And when you go create a quotation, it's going to say quotation type. I don't want to fully get into the concept of actually creating an inquiry type or configuring an inquiry type yet. But for now, I just want to understand that there are 2 pieces to start with. If you want to give me an example, you go to a Subway and order some sandwiches, you're going to start with some basic choices. Like, is it going to be a 6-inch or a foot long, right? You're going to make some basic choices and then further move up from there. So similarly, this is the first choice that you got to make. What is the inquiry type that you're going to create? There can be multiple inquiries. Inquiries for a certain group of products from another group of products. For example, a company like HP could be doing one inquiry type for all parts, meaning spare parts, another inquiry type for say capital goods, another inquiry type for say routers, because they might represent really different lines of businesses and each inquiry is really different for them. So they might want to do a different inquiry type for each of that. Similarly, there is something called as org data. This really is more or less the areas or the geographical areas in which they are doing business. That's a very gross misrepresentation, but for now just think of org data as your different geographies. Like again, if you take the HP example, the org data for sales happening in the US is going to be US organization, distribution channel, let's say retail, and division, part sales. And if they're creating an inquiry in, say, Singapore, it's going to be sales org Singapore. It could be retail or wholesale distribution channel, and say capital goods division. Now, I'm just taking too many examples here, but don't worry. We're going to talk about all these things in much greater detail at a later point. I just want to give you an idea of what's an inquiry type and what's your org data, and more importantly, why you're filling them here. Because this is going to set the precedent for what you're going to enter going forward. Let me give you one simple example. You don't want to really choose the org data for US, and when you go inside this, enter a customer from the Singapore or Japanese region, right? It's just wrong. So you're making a choice here, and you'll stick to those choices going forward as you enter customer data and material data. All right. So that's that. So go here, click on this drop down, and select IN as your inquiry. Like I said, you can create your own inquiry types, but we're not there yet. For now, we'll select the standard inquiry type provided by SAP. Click OK, and over here, select your sales org, distribution channel, and division. Now, what are these? 1000, 10, 00. 1000 represents the German sales org. 10 represents a retail distribution channel, and 00 represents a cross division. Why is 1000 representing Germany? Yeah, we'll come to that when we come to enterprise structure. But until then, just select this level of details. Let's take a screenshot again here and hit enter. So let's go back to our notes and enter the picture here. So what are we doing here? Enter the inquiry type and org data and hit enter. So next we're going to move on to step 3. What is step 3? So here we have a very big screen staring at us, but don't be scared. You don't really need to fill in all these fields. It's no big deal. You enter some details, and the rest of the details are automatically be picked up by SAP based on the data that's already available. For example, you want to pick a customer, right? In this case, Walmart is our customer. Now, we might not have created Walmart yet in the system because we don't know how to create a customer yet. But let's just pick some customer for now. Say 1000. That's a customer. Now again, why 1000? I just picked up a number because I know it exists. If you don't know a number, you can go here and click on this button, and it'll pop up a search box where you can do a variety of searches by postal code, by city, by name. Let's see if there is anything like Walmart. So I do a star, which is a wild character, and then do Walmart and then star. So anything that has Walmart in its name. Click OK. Okay, there's no Walmart. But don't worry, we're going to create Walmart when we come to the customer master section. Alright, so this is where you do your search and you select what kind of customer you want and so on. Alright, so I close this box and I know that a customer by number 1000 exists, and I'm going to click OK or hit the green button, and it's giving me another pop-up. Now it says this customer has multiple ship to parties That means there are many ship to addresses that the customer could potentially ask us to ship. Which one do you want to select? You can either select the default one, which has this check mark in there, or you can select the other one. Now, you can just let it remain and click OK. Right? In which case, it has already pulled up the customer name, customer address, and other details for the customer corresponding to the number 1000. What's the name of the customer? It's Becker Berlin, and he stays at Calvin Strasse, some address, and then Berlin. That's the address, right? So let's take a screenshot here, and this is what we are going to enter at the header level. All right. Step 3 is enter header data. What's there in the header? We are just entering the customer number. Okay, in this case 1000, and maybe purchase order number. We'll enter some text, ABC 1 2 3, whatever, right? So let's take that screenshot, put it here. All right, so that's step 3, and step number 4 is we're going to continue with step 4 is we're going to continue entering the line item level data. So if you think of it, this is saying who the customer is, like Walmart or whatever. The example that we have taken is Walmart. So this is where you enter your Walmart, and this is where in these lines is where you enter the products that he wants, like, you know, desktop, laptop, or any other products. Now in this case, we don't have desktops or laptops set in the system yet, so I know some materials, so I'm gonna enter them here. So the material is going to be M-01. I enter a quantity of 1 and hit enter. Now M-01 is a code for a material with a description sunny. You know, I don't care. When it's time, we'll create our own materials, our own customers. For now, we're just going to enter a material that already exists in a standard SAP test system. And then you can enter more materials, M02, M03, M04, blah, blah, blah. Right? And then I said we're going to enter a PO number. So PO ABC 123. Hit enter. As soon as you hit enter, the system validates things if there is an error. For example, say if you enter some wrong data, say if you enter a material GGGG, BBB, GGG, some random number which doesn't exist, and I'm hitting enter. See, as soon as you hit enter, the system is gonna look at the database behind the scenes and say, hey, this material is not defined. So what are you trying to do? Right? So enter is the signal for the interface to go contact the server and then make sure that you're not entering wrong data. In this case, it's a wrong material, so it's pushing out a warning that says that material does not exist. Okay, now we are done with this stuff, so let's take another screenshot and paste it over our stuff. So enter line item level details. This is where you enter your materials, quantities, prices, whatnot. Right? The details that we have entered here is material number and quantity. Material and quantity. All right. And then That's it. I'm done. I just click on the save button, and you look at the left bottom corner here. Inquiry 10000 blah da 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 6 has been saved. So this is called an inquiry number, and this is the number that we were referring to in our picture as 11011. So let me go here. So this is the number that we were referring to. We said SAP is going to generate a number, right? I just gave some sample number of 1102120, right? So in this case, SAP has generated. This is not really a step. It just generates a number, and that number is, in this case, 10006. So this is the number SAP generated inquiry number. And this is what we're gonna give to Walmart and say, you know what, this is the inquiry that we have created from HP. Thank you very much for your inquiry. All right, so that's how we have created an inquiry. Let's summarize all the steps that we have done here. So we're trying to do hands-on an inquiry. We can either go to V11, and this is called as a transaction code, or you can use a menu path. You can use logistics, sales and distribution, sales, inquiry, and create. So that was step number 1, how to start the transaction called the inquiry. Step number 2, we have learned what type of data to put in here, like the inquiry type, some org data. In this case, I'm putting org data for Germany. 1000 is a German sales org. 3000 is a US sales org. These areas or sales orgs are generally referred to with a 4-character alphabetic or alphanumeric ID. Sometimes it's alphabetic, sometimes it's numeric, sometimes it's alphanumeric. It's really a customer's choice. The third step is you enter some header data. Don't worry about the term header data, because we're going to really talk about what really is behind the header of a sales order or an inquiry. All the different fields, their functional significance, and so on, and in a later chapter. And step number 4 is we enter some line item level details like the materials and quantities, and then it automatically pulls up the descriptions, prices, whatnot. And as soon as you hit save, just like the way you save a Word document and it generates or asks you for a name, right? In case of Word, it asks you for a name, but in case of a SAP document, typically these are all internally generated. So it's just a sequence of numbers: 10005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The more inquiries you create, the list goes on and on and on. So in the next chapter, we're going to create a quotation for the same data.